What's up, everybody? You are tuned in to WHBC 96.3 HD3. Sounds like Howard. And we are here with the homecoming staff. I want y'all to make y'all a round of applause at home. I know y'all listening. I want y'all to introduce yourselves, man.
Alright, so I'll start off. My name is Zanani Greenwell, and I am the chair for this year's homecoming.
I am Kristen Kent, and I'm the vice chair for this year's homecoming.
I am Paige Hurston. I'm the hip hop concert coordinator this year.
And my name is Ten Malone, and I'm the treasurer.
Okay, nice to meet everybody. So, I'm here to ask you all the hard-hitting questions. Now I'm playing. I want to get just in-depth, like, who are y'all? Like, we want our listeners to know who's over homecoming. We know homecoming has a big tradition of being the best homecoming ever. So we want to know who's over homecoming this year. So just give y'all a little Howard intro, I guess. Tell us who y'all are so we can know.
Okay, thank you. Like I said before, my name is Zanani, and I'm serving as the chair this year. I'm a political science major, African American studies minor from Chicago, and basically this year's homecoming, we're really about transparency. We're about letting the students know, within reason of course, what to expect for homecoming. This is our 90th anniversary, and it's also the inauguration of our 17th president. So there's a lot of changes that are going on at Howard, all positive, of course. So we really just want to highlight what the essence of being at the Mecca is, the importance of excellence, setting the standard. And I think that being at a HBCU, it's just imperative that we set the standard not only for others at other HBCUs, but others in general, any other black professionals, black aspiring artists, singers, anything that has to do with pursuing a higher education, a higher degree. But we really just want to highlight the importance of the traditions of alumni and the traditions of the students, and really being able to bridge those two together and collaborate.
Okay.
Okay, comes to me. So I am in the grad program with the School of Education. I'm from Chicago also. And one thing, I've been a part of homecoming for, I guess this will be my fourth and final year. And one thing that we're trying to do is, what we do every year is make it bigger and better. Every year we try to add more things, do more things for the students, and this year we're really focusing on giving back to Howard and making it something that everybody can enjoy.
Okay.
Again, I am Paige Hurston. I'm a graduating senior public relations major from Plano, Texas. And as hip hop attraction, I really want the students to really enjoy this year's hip hop concert and just make it just unforgettable for all the students.
Okay.
So this is Ten again. I'm a senior political science psychology double major from Indianapolis, Indiana, Midwest. I guess I might be the third or fourth one that said that. But so I serve as the treasurer. I have the pleasure of serving as the treasurer. So, I mean, in a nutshell, I'm just here to make sure that the students get the most bang for their buck.
Okay. Well, we have some new events this year for homecoming. I want y'all to introduce some of the new events. I know the hip hop concert is coming back, and we have the inaugural 5K run. So tell us some more about what's going on with our new events at homecoming.
Well, I'll let Kristen talk about them, because she's specifically over events, so she can kind of lay it out for us.
So for this year, we're trying to do something more for the community and to give back, not only to do different hip-hop concerts and yard fest and all that. We're doing the 5K run, where we're going to raise money for charity and really get the organizations involved with homecoming, just to kind of give back and do more of that. I don't know if you want to touch on it more, Tim.
Yeah, so originally the 5K was a little bit of a brainchild between myself and our second vice chair, Talia, and it originally was meant to be a fundraiser, and then it kind of spiraled into something that was way bigger than we anticipated, and is hopefully going to be much bigger than something that the DC community has seen before, getting schools in local DC area and staff, students, alumni, all alike involved to not just do something good for themselves, but good for the community and good for Howard as well. So we're definitely excited about the 5K.
Yeah, I'm excited. Can y'all tell everybody where they can sign up for the 5K run?
You can sign up on bisonhomecoming.com. Right now, we're working on making sure the funds go to a secure location, because all proceeds will be donated to the Howard Cancer Center. So for right now, you can register. Early registration ends August 31st. And then there will be regular registration, where the price will increase, and then late registration. The price for students is cheaper than the price for people who aren't students at Howard. And in addition, if you sign up with 10 or more people, you get a little discount as well.
Okay. So that sounds like a great event. It's brand new, first one. But now we have to talk about the hip hop concert because everybody's been talking about the hip hop concert. So I'm gonna bring it to Miss Paige because I know that's her forte. What's going on with the hip hop concert this year?
It's a surprise.
So, what was your planning? What did you pretty much go into when you were thinking about, okay, this is what I want to do for this year hip hop concert? Let's make it big. So,
Well, originally, coming to the interest meeting, I really wanted to be step show coordinator, but I heard about the hip hop concert that they were bringing back this year. So, my idea that I wanted to bring, I wanted artists from all over the region to be able to represent all the students at Howard, not just one or two artists to represent the West Coast or the South. I wanted everyone to be fully represented as far as the artists that we got this year. So like I said, the artist that we're choosing is a surprise right now, but it's all in the works. It's still going to be great though.
Okay, I guess I gotta wait.
You can't get us that easy.
Okay. Second question. I know y'all were a little more interactive this year. Y'all gave a little survey about who would y'all like to see at homecoming. Was that a big response? Did that go into picking the person, or I know y'all can't tell me, but y'all gotta give me a little something, just just a little bit, something. Is that person on the list? Just tell me, is that person on the list?
What? What was the question?
Well, I guess
We don't understand
with the survey this year, one thing that I know Paige's biggest thing is that she wanted to bring someone that the students wanted to see. So we really did take the students' opinion into our decision making for who we were bringing to Howard this year and who we're still considering and bringing Howard this year. So the survey did mean something. It wasn't just purposeless. It did mean a lot, and we did consider the people that people actually asked for.
Right. And again, the survey is very helpful because, again, we want to know what the students think. But the hip hop concert transcends many generations as well. So it started, it has been going on since, I guess back in the, I want to say maybe early 90s when the students at Howard thought it was important to have. So we also have to consider alum. We have to consider our Howard brand and who is going to be a good representation overall for the school. So we want to hear the students' opinion, and we just want to take those opinions and always make the best decision for the university in general.
Okay, well, they did give me a little something. Thank y'all, but y'all stay tuned. WHBC 96.3 HD3. We'll be right back with the homecoming staff. What's good, everybody? You are still tuned in to WHBC 96.3 HD3. Sounds like Howard. This is your guy, Devin, on the mic. I'm talking to the homecoming staff, and they got a little bit of information for me, so I had to see what's going on. I tried. I can only give y'all what they give me, so I tried. But we have to get into one of the biggest events of homecoming. We have to talk about Yard Fest this year, and I know the press release came out on the 15th, and it pretty much touched a little bit about what's going on for Yard Fest. So I want y'all to explain the differences in Yard Fest this year than in the past years.
Okay, so we all can help out with this topic. We're all pretty familiar on it. The difference with Yard Fest this year is that there will not be the concert aspect, the free concert in the yard that everyone is used to seeing, well, at least for the past 15 years. Which is why we have the hip hop concert to replace that. Traditionally, 15 years ago, they did not have a concert in the yard where it was free and open to the public just to see like a 2 Chainz or Meek Mill like it was last year or in past years. So that's the difference. So I know that a lot of people think like Yard Fest has been going on forever. The truth is it hasn't been going on forever. But the difference this year is that there's still going to be a lot of interaction. There are going to be DJs. There's still going to be music. There's going to be vendors. There's going to be food vendors, merchandise vendors. There's going to be a lot of different things. There's going to be a few wow factors that you all have to stay tuned for. But overall, it's still going to be a great experience, a great 2-day experience. So again, it's happening Friday and Saturday. Friday is the day where most of the action will be taking place. So we're really excited for it. But again, just come. I feel like, there's nothing I can't say, I'm going to have this great something that you just have to come to find out. And that's really kind of how it's going to be. So.
Okay.
Right. And we can say, homecoming, we're always going to have our surprises. But for all of you listeners out there, we're going to do it big for the 90th. So you definitely want to make sure that you're going to be at Yard Fest. Okay.
So, y'all. Nah. But, continuing on Yard Fest, was there like a executive decision? Like, what made y'all change the aspect of Yard Fest this year compared to the past years?
Right. Well, the decision was made by the university. So a lot of times
Okay.
people think that it was something that the steering committee made. It wasn't our decision at all. If it was up to me, of course, I want everyone to have their free concert. So we're not like, oh, just take everything away. It was definitely a decision that was made by the university. I don't know why, but it's the instructions that we were given. So we were just instructed to take what they gave us and basically make the best out of it. So there is no concrete decision or concrete reason, I guess, or logical reason that we know of, but they're in the instructions from the university and we have to go with them.
All right, y'all heard it first here. Don't blame the homecoming committee. Don't blame Howard.
Don't blame Howard. If you really want to find out, I'm sure you could, but it's kind of beyond our control at this point. We just have to move forward with, whatever is going to be better than last year. So that's kind of what we have to do.
Okay. Well.
I definitely think my favorite event has been the Step Show. I think it was the first event that I went to as a freshman, and it was just really cool to see so many different organizations come together and really, work together to step or whatever and represent their organization. I like the aspect of it having kind of a host and a surprise guest. I thought that was always cool, and just the whole production side of it always made me want to work for homecoming and volunteer for homecoming. So I think that the Step Show is what initially made me say like, oh, this is cool, I want to be a part of it.
Okay.
Being a part of homecoming for the past 4 years, like I was coordinator for Step Show last year. This year I'm doing the R&B show. So honestly, every part of homecoming is my favorite. Just homecoming in general to me is something that really drew me towards Howard University, because it's so many people that come out here. It's so known, it's so big, and it also into budgeting, into all that. So the entire homecoming is my favorite. I really can't pick.
Homecoming event I'm looking forward to this year will be Yard Festival. They have a lot of surprises in store for everyone in Howard, and it's going to be awesome. Like, you guys really have to come to Yard Fest this year.
Is it wrong to say my favorite homecoming event is the game? I always like the game. Do I have to say like a homecoming steering committee event?
No, you don't have to be.
I like the battle of the bands.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
We playing FAMU, so it's going to be a big whole band.
And the parade. That was
And the
always a
parade.
good time as well.
Okay. Well, y'all heard it first here, man. I guess this is what y'all wanted to know and y'all needed to know about homecoming. Well, we need to know a little bit more about who's on homecoming committee. I want to ask y'all, what made you want to join homecoming committee in general? Just make you want, like, oh, this is what I want to do. And what was the what was the process of getting onto the homecoming committee?
When I was a sophomore, I really admired the event Dream Day, which is also known as the educational event this year. And I was always drawn to the component of being able to understand what it takes to put on productions, the managers, the people behind the scenes that you don't always notice. And that is what Dream Day really highlighted. So I applied to be a volunteer for Dream Day specifically, and ever since that I just really you kind of get addicted to it. I don't know if Kristen feels the same way, but you kind of are like, wow, this is cool, like I want to do something more and something more and something more, and that is initially where I found kind of like my passion in homecoming.
Okay.
For me, my RA was actually Shanice McKnight. She was one of the chairs for Howard University homecoming, and as a freshman, that's really it's really intense, and for me being an education major, it was a totally different aspect of work, of a field for me, and it became addictive, like Zanani said. And now that I'm a graduate, that's what I do now. I do event planning and with different companies and stuff, so it really built my passion, and it really brought something out of me that I didn't know that I had.
You really find yourself.
Yeah, you find yourself within homecoming. You really do find what you really do like and what you really don't like. So that's kind of what it was for me.
I definitely agree with everyone was saying. I really love event planning. It's definitely my passion. It's something I want to do, for the rest of my life. And I've always been extremely scared to do homecoming just because it's so much pressure. You get a lot of backlash from the school if it's not done right. So I really took that leap of faith, my last year, and, I applied and I got it, and it's just been a great experience since, I got the position.
Okay.
Right, I guess my story is kind of similar to Paige's. I went to I think like a volunteer interest meeting my freshman year, and I was overwhelmed. I was like, what is this? And then my freshman year, the homecoming steering committee, they carried them out during the homecoming unveiling, which was in Crampton back then, and they carried them out like they were like kings and queens on a throne. I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing. So I was overwhelmed. So I didn't get involved with homecoming until after I had already kind of been through the cycle of getting involved with university finances through student council and Houston Senate. And so I guess growing, like getting familiarity with money in that sense kind of drew me towards taking on the challenge of homecoming, and I'm glad that I made that decision.
Okay, I guess this will be my last like big question. I want to ask y'all, what was the planning going into the name of homecoming? Like last year was epic, and so Crown. What does Crown mean?
Well, Crown, I did get a lot of like backlash as well about the title. It basically is the essence of all things that have to do with excellence, royalty, and responsibility. And so this year, yeah, it's kind of deep, and like everyone was like, we don't get it, but it's kind of something you have to see to believe. And I think that with this being the 90th anniversary, I just wanted something that highlighted royalty, that highlighted responsibility, and the essence of the Mecca. And that's where I got Crown, or that's where I came up with Crown. So it's not to say that, oh, we're better than someone else. It's to really say that, hey, anyone can wear the crown.
We are better.
I'm not saying we're better, because I'm saying it. I got friends at AC. I got friends.
I'm saying it. Howard Homecoming is the best homecoming.
I am saying that we are the best homecoming, but we are, again, no better than anyone else. But we have a sense of responsibility and of responsibility to execute excellence at all times. And that's what the vision for homecoming was for myself. And again, a lot of people didn't really understand it at first, but you'll again have to see it to believe it. And so I think that just keeping that in mind, that's really what it's saying. So every year homecoming has a different name. Howard Homecoming in its sense is a brand on its own. So just attaching a name to it doesn't really mean anything, and it just means that whenever you're dealing with Howard Homecoming, just always execute excellence in anything that you do.
Okay. What about you? What does Crown mean to you? Yeah, it has to mean something. I want to know what it means to you. Like, what is your definition of Crown? Like, what do you think your crowning achievement for Crown will be?
I really think Zanati hit it.
She really did.
She really did. Like that is
she got all deep and poetic
everything.
And Dr. Carr-ish.
It's our responsibility. Like it really is. And us being Howard University, the real HU, we have a responsibility with everything we do, with all the programs that we have, all the majors that we have, even our homecoming. People look at us as a structure, as a prototype for everything else that they do. So Zanani hit it on the head. My idea was that we have a responsibility to our community as well, and that our homecoming highlights everything that Black people in our community tend to follow. So being able to have that sense of responsibility for everybody, not just homecoming, not just the students at Howard, but anybody in the DC area. They can always look to homecoming as kind of the precedent for what to expect and how to achieve higher.
Right. Hashtag heavy is the head. You can put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, and that's where the inspiration came from. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, by Shakespeare. And so just, again, the people who are at the top bear the most weight, and that's what it is. And as Howard, we're at the top, and we bear the most weight to make sure that everything happens. Yeah, like it's but that's where the inspiration came from.
Bet. I want to thank y'all for coming through. Y'all have been tuned in. WHBC 96.3 HD3 Sounds Like Howard. We have had the homecoming committee. We've answered as many questions as y'all gonna get, so y'all stay tuned. Unveiling is coming soon. Tell them when the unveiling is so they can.
September 20th, 7 p.m. in Crampton Auditorium.
All right then. So y'all heard it here first. Y'all stay tuned, man. Something's really good is coming up, man. Y'all stay tuned. WHBC 96.3 HD3 Sounds Like Howard.